what I have noticed is that when we land things, when we market from integrity and we say what we do and we do what we say, and our marketing is an accurate representation of the transformation that is contained inside the program, then our words start to have weight in a world where there's a lot of empty promises and a lot of people who don't keep what their promises and don't do what they say and say what they do. What stands out are people who do. And that's why I feel that, yes, I've been in business for 8 years. And when I'm like, I'm in it, I'm in it. I'm not ever questioned this whole time, all the frustrations and the doubts and everything, but I've not questioned ever if I should not be a coach. This is my life's work and I'm committed to it and I'm in it for the long haul. And if I'm in the long haul, then what that means is that I lead the way. If I don't like what I see, then I lead the way. Even though it's scary, even though I don't know what I'm doing, even though I don't have all the answers, then I have to lead the way because I refuse to be a circus monkey. I refuse to perform for likes and for validation. And because this thing works, this little trick works, and that, like, dance, monkey, dance. No. Welcome to It's Not What You Think, the podcast that takes you on a transformative journey to rewrite your story of greatness and reawaken your soul's purpose. I'm your host, Celine DaCosta, a subconscious mind expert, master coach, and believer in the limitless power and magic that lives within all of us. My intention in this podcast is to propel you into your next level of success so that you are free to create the life that your heart most desires. Through deep, actionable insights, personal stories, and world-class guests, I'll provide you with the tools, strategies, and resources you need to unlock the fullest expression of who you're meant to be in this lifetime so that you can consciously design a reality that is beyond what you could have ever dreamed of. Join me on this journey to personal growth and evolution, and let's live our lives in accordance with our highest soul's calling. This podcast is your weekly check-in to help this path become more simple, obtainable, and fun. Thank you for tuning in today, and now let's dive in. Hello, family. Oh my gosh. Welcome to today's episode. I don't know where I'm going with this episode. I'll be honest. I just know there's something important inside of me that has to move. And this is going to be a bit of internal dialogue that's happening. This I guess you could call this maybe a therapy session that you get to be a fly on the wall of, because it feels like this needs to be talked about. And because I haven't been able to find the most structured or organized way of talking about it, I'm not talking about it, but it needs to be talked about. The topic of today's episode is I'm not faking it anymore. And it's a reclamation of my authentic voice. I have been in the online coaching world for almost 8 years now. And I have seen it evolve in its many variations. When I first started, I didn't even know what coaching was. Someone had to explain it to me. I didn't think I would even be a coach. It like found me. It was a career that truly, truly found me. It was a calling for me from the beginning. And I've gone through the variations of, going on Instagram, and back then super easy to gain a big following in no time. And there wasn't all the algorithm talk and all these sophisticated types of contents. It was just like picture and a caption. And it was during the time where coaching wasn't as mainstream as it became in the past, 4 or 5 years since, since the pandemic, where online businesses became the dream. It became the thing that everyone wanted to aspire to, like leave, like travel the world, on your laptop, work from anywhere you are. And there has been a bit of a gold rush that I noticed in the past few years of just everyone going online, and so many people just, flooding the online space, more people, more human beings. And on the same, vein, writing all of these waves of different ways of marketing, different like needing to adapt to different trends, marketing trends, different ways to sell products, different ways to adapt. Um, I hit a point, uh, you know, about a year ago where I started to feel really fatigued, really, really fatigued. And I didn't really get why I was feeling so fatigued. I was just like, okay, something doesn't feel right. And my intuition, I have an amazing intuition, so freaking like precise. The problem is I get in my way. The problem is like, just kidding. It's not a problem, but still, like, I often laugh at myself because intuitively I usually know what I need to do. But the time it takes for me to catch up to actually do what I need to do is because my ego was just my personality was just fighting me the whole time because I didn't want to die. It's a process that I'm getting much faster at. But yeah, this just like just fatigue of, oh my God, something doesn't feel right. The way we're doing things doesn't feel right. And to be fair, I was feeling this many years before that, but it got to the point that it started to feel unbearable, and I started to realize that I just couldn't stand the way certain things were being done, both, first and foremost as an industry standard, and then in my own business because I was taking inspiration from the industry standard. And looking back now, before I go into the specifics of what those things are, I realize, like, looking back now, being where I currently am at in my clarity and visibility and centeredness, I look at my 8-year journey and I see myself having started my business 8 years ago, being fully naive. Just when I started my business, I mean, I was super like, I'm just gonna do what lights me up. I'm gonna do what lights me up. I'm gonna do what feels really good. And because of, I think that's why. I honestly think that's why when I look at my journey and I think about how is it that I was able to grow my business to 6 figures within 9 months of starting it when I had no business background, like did not have a business education. I didn't know how to run a business, but somehow it worked. And when I look back at that incredible 25-year-old, very driven 25-year-old, I just see her like just really being soul driven and doing what it is that she felt was the right thing. And what I noticed is that then as my business started growing and people were like, oh, that's how you do things? You should do it this way. I'm like, oh, this person has been in business for more years than me. I should probably, you know, um, create my offers, structure them the way this person says I should structure them. Or, the rise of all the marketing gurus saying that you need to market a certain way, you need to talk about people's fears and really pull on their fears. I'm like, oh, I guess, I'm really new at marketing. I guess I should do what this person's saying because this person's clearly getting incredible results. And I noticed, looking back now, I can see the ways that I unconsciously allowed outside sources and experts to chip away at my nature and to chip away at my identity and what I felt was right for me. And as the years went rolling by, it was like adaptation, 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 adaptation. Oh, let me do this, let me do that. And, some things for good reason because there are growing pains. I don't want to ignore the fact that, for example, when you are growing from 6 figures to multi 6 figures, it's totally different than going from 0 to 6 figures. And when you're going from multi 6 figures to passing the $500,000 mark, there's growing pains. There's systems that need to be set up. There's team members that need to be hired. So, I'm not denying that there are some very natural things that need to happen. But what I'm speaking specifically into is just this, like, I should do this because this person's doing this. I should do this. I should do that. I should do that. And then what I noticed is that I started to get so off track of the thing that I originally intended, for my work to be. And I would get off track. And then, the good news is because I have a practice of speaking to soul, because I come back to my foundational work, my values, my why, everything that I talk about all the time, until, I talk about it so much because it's literally the most important thing ever, which is getting your foundations in place of knowing why you do what you do, the vision, the values, and knowing what your story is and knowing how to adapt it. Like all those things, I was able to like keep kind of coming back to my center, but often I would slip. And one of the things that I've awakened to in this past year of just sitting in this like, this doesn't feel right, is all the ways where I got brainwashed. And more accurately, I allowed myself unconsciously to be brainwashed by this mainstream story of what business and what marketing should be. Totally brainwashed. That, oh, if you're running a coaching business, then you need to, for example, you need to make sure you have a group program, and the group program is leveraged. And then that group program upsells into the mastermind. And the mastermind upsells into this like private coaching thing. And it looks like this. And then you structure it like this. And you have a evergreen course. And then you run ads to it. And then da-da-da. And everything runs. And there you have it. A 7-figure business. Ta-da! Like dance, monkey dance, And oh man, I fell into these rabbit holes so many times of, the 7-figure coach that promised, charge me an arm and a leg because he promised me he would build me a funnel that would get me to 7 figures and beyond. But then in the building of that funnel, completely bulldozed over my values, completely bulldozed over my nervous system and what I need and how my lifestyle is. Because there was like a method and that method is the only thing that needs to be done. And as long as you follow this step by step, then it's going to be done. And so many times I betrayed myself and totally bulldozed myself because I listened to how people's methods, or like how people claimed that I would get from A to Z if I did this and this and this and this in the exact order that they would say it in. And just coming to this realization of, why is no one talking about the importance of connecting to yourself before you make these decisions? Why is no one having these? And by the way, I know people are. I'm being a little bit of a drama queen here. So because even I've been saying it's okay, it's not no one. I know some people are talking about this, but why is it like mainstream? Okay, mainstream. Why is there not a bigger conversation about how we need to hear our own inner dialogue and our own soul voice in order to make the right decisions for ourselves? Now, in this example, I'm speaking about business in this episode just because this is what's alive for me right now, but everything applies to, love, life, health. But I'm really frustrated. I'm feeling really frustrated with the lack of conversation around how to build a business that is in integrity to ourselves, to the collective, to the planet, that is in alignment to what is true for us in our soul, instead of being a reaction to our ego personality self and our conditioning, to make decisions based on our inner power, and to have the tools to be able to, confront anything that's coming up from the subconscious, any stuck emotions that are living in the body, disempowering thoughts. But instead, what I'm seeing is a circus. It's a circus out there. And I'm realizing that so many ways that I accidentally, unconsciously, because I didn't know better, because I thought someone knew better than me, because I didn't trust in my own intuition, because I didn't trust in my own power. I wasn't seated in my own power, and I gave it away instead. I made adjustments, changes, decisions that got me off track and off track from myself, where I wasn't, um, an example is I started my business just writing, just writing. I love writing. But it was just telling a story and a lesson, and sometimes a CTA, call to action. And then all these marketers came in and they're like, yeah, but that's not effective because you need to, start with a pain point. You got to really hit them when it hurts. And then you tell them that you're going to take them to the promised land and you're going to take them there. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Intuitively, I thought that kind of feels weird, but I guess this person knows what they're talking about. So I should do what they're saying because it makes more sense. And then I would start to pivot, for example, do my marketing and my email campaigns to be like, pinpoint, promised land, CTA, go over here. And I would send out the emails. I'd be like, oof, I didn't love that. And then I come up with a story that I really love. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to share this. But that was like the story that didn't sell, even though that's not actually true. And yeah, even, more specific, because I was talking about business, but what I'm realizing is that more specifically, marketing. I'm experiencing friction with marketing at the moment, and specifically the way that marketing is being treated, at least how I perceive it's being treated in mainstream media. And this, you could say, just like sales, you could say sales is love, marketing is love. Marketing is just showing people that you have something that can really help them. Sales is just, leading them into something that, having them commit to the thing that they, is going to help them. That's all fair. That's all true. But that's not to bypass the issues that are happening in the marketing space right now, which is there is a lot of manipulation. There's a lot of over-promising and under-delivering. There's a lot of, hit them, like knife them, make it hurt real bad so that they know what their problem is. And then you like give them the solution after you like stab them. It's like, huh? Why would I want to stab someone and then give it is anyone else like, this is bananas. This is nonsensical, but it's normal now because we've normalized it. And in the normalizing of emotionally manipulating people to make certain decisions in their life or to convince them that they need something they don't need, in that manipulation, then we normalize it. And when we normalize it, then people become disempowered because then they become people who are being emotionally manipulated and don't have the tools to know that that's what's happening. And so they buy because they're being manipulated. And I've seen this went rampant during COVID and after COVID and the year since then. It went rampant because when everyone started to like the gold rush towards the online space and courses and coaching and all this thing, and everyone started popping on there, then there's no standards of entry. There's no barrier to entry. So anyone can, just record some half-assed course that doesn't actually deliver, that has no evidence, that has no testimonial, no social proof, pop it on the internet, and then create an incredible marketing campaign that makes you feel that if you don't buy this thing, you're missing out on life. And that you have a problem, that there's something wrong with you. And then people buy it and they get a subpar experience because that person either doesn't have proper qualifications to be teaching that thing, or they didn't put it together with intention, with respect for the student's time and or consideration for, someone going through this and being deserving of creating that transformation for themselves. Maybe they promised the world in their marketing and it wasn't a match, and then people get burned. They get burned. They have bad experiences. And then what happens is, they're now skeptical. And what do you got to do? You got to implement more tactics, more psychology tricks, more emotionally manipulation to overcome the skepticism that they have. And then it happens again, and then it happens again. And then all of a sudden, the industry like loses reputation, it loses credibility, and then we wonder why. And, you know, I feel sad about that. I feel really sad about that because I love what I do. I love what I do. To me, it feels like a soul's calling. It's an honor to be able to sit with my clients, to be able to sit with my students, to anyone who's willing to, and desiring to learn from me and is exchanging, precious resources, in this case money, to be, to have an exchange where I dedicate my consciousness, my time, my expertise, and I pour into them for that exchange. And that to me feels like something that needs to be honored. I love what I do, and I love showing up for my clients, and what makes everything worth it, of course I have a business and I get compensated for my work. Well, how I know that I love what I do and that it's just like my soul's work is that I would do it for free all day if I could, if we didn't live in this like, mainstream matrix where we do need this energy called money in order to operate and navigate through the maze. I love it. And when they come to me and their life completely transforms, and they get to create these big dreams that, I just recently had a client who's been dreaming of quitting her job and like going all in on her business. And finally it happened. And all these moments, and this other client who was pregnant when she started working with me, and she wanted to like move across the world with her babies. And now she's doing it. Like the act of being a facilitator for people's biggest dreams that came from their soul is such an honor for me. And I really am so devoted to this work. And to see it disrespected and just treated like a commodity the way it has been lately, it kills me. Because I know the transformation of this work. Coaching, personal development, changed my life. Changed my life. The most important people who changed my life were people who coached me for the better. And so I've not only received the life transformation of this craft, but I've also been, able to facilitate this for other people. I've been able to be someone that could support someone else in creating massive change and transformation in their life to help themselves in making their dreams come true. And so, I know this is such a thing for a lot of my peers and coaches that I talk to, which is that I came into this market, guns a-blazing, being like, I'm going to revolutionize the way marketing is done. And that's where my brand story work came in. For those of you who have been with me for a bit longer, one of my gifts is being able to pull a really potent story out of someone and really craft a brand story for the business that is like the personality of the business. I've been able to do that for many people and support them in becoming influential leaders in their space. And the way I did it was, it was about coming back to your values, coming back to your why. Who are you really? Who's the best version of you? Who do you want to become? And but then I started to notice the ways where I strayed from my own principles of how to communicate and how to share my work, and started to buy into what other people said was the better way of doing things. And one of the things that I've been working on in the past 6 months in my business is cleaning up my language. And instead of buying into the marketing circus and performing with everyone in the circus. I've decided that marketing, for me, the way I define it, the way I want to carry it, needs to be a representation of who I really am. And I can't fake it. I can't fake anything anymore. And what I mean is that I don't feel like I've been fake in that sense. Like, that's not what I'm saying, but more so that there's been a lot of fakeness. There's a lot of fakeness in marketing that I'm just unwilling to participate in anymore. And just really small example, fake sense of urgency in marketing. You better buy this. There's only 3 spots left. It's like a digital course and there's infinite spots left. What are you talking about? Or people saying, just fake things. This is 10x better. You're going to get 10x on your investment. How do you know? Do you have evidence? Did people go through your program and get 10x on their investment? And just all this fake data, fake information that isn't actually fully true or is a half truth. And you know what? I am not innocent in this. I'm not innocent in this. And I want to be clear about that. In the past, I have succumbed to these strategies, to these things that people would tell me. I've not been perfect in this journey in any way, shape, or form, but I think that's part of the reason why I haven't talked about it. And I also think it's part of the reason why a lot of people don't talk about it, because a lot of us have done it. We've participated. We are we were consciously or unconsciously complicit to this madness. But at some point, we got to step out. At least that's what I'm trying to do here, to step out and be like, no. Yes, I've done it. Yes, I've used this tactic here and there, but I'm not available. Like, it's a hard no for me. It's a hard no for me to indulge, like give any of this way of doing things my attention. The other day, I had a funnel expert come in and just look at how my funnels were set up. And he said, one of the biggest issues of your funnels is that you keep telling people like, this is the dream, this is what you can create in your life, but you're not talking to them about their pain points. And that's why your marketing's not working. You got to tell them what the problem is. You need to tell them that they have a problem. And then you're going to tell them how they're going to fix it, he says. And I'm just like, and you know what? A year ago, 2 years ago, might have worked. I might have bought into that. But I looked at him and I was like, well, that won't work. And he's like, why not? And I said, it won't work because I don't believe there is a problem. So you're asking me to tell people there's a problem and that I'm going to help them fix it. But I don't think there's a problem and I don't think there's anything they need to fix. So that doesn't work. He's like, yeah, but that's how, that's how the marketing goes. That's how marketing goes. I'm like, no. If that's how marketing goes, then I'm out. Because I'm not going to sit here and create a whole charade, like a whole performance around how you have a problem when I don't actually believe that problems exists. I don't. Sure, I use the language. I'm actually working on cleaning up my language around that now because it's a new realization that I had. I'm like, there's actually no problem. Everything is as it is. There are challenges in life. There's contractions. There are ways that things are not flowing in their best way. But if I were to really look at every problem I've had in my life, and on the other side, when I resolved the problem, so to say, that problem has always been a blessing in disguise. It's always been a gift. It's always been an opportunity. So why do I keep labeling things that I think are challenging or hard for me or I don't have the answer to yet? I keep labeling them as problems, and then I pride myself on being a problem solver. I created in the past, I created an identity around being a problem solver, which guess what? All it did was unconsciously attract more problems for me to solve. And when I dropped the identity of I'm a problem solver, I'm like, nope, I'm not a problem solver because I don't want problems. Then my life got easier and I started to see that there's actually no problems. There's just life. being life and how we choose to perceive that situation. Because I could look at something as a problem and you could be like, oh my God, what an incredible fun opportunity. So is it really objectively a problem? And that's something that I think is like fundamentally like grates. It's like nails on a chalkboard when people teach it like that, because I'm like, this is not healthy. So now I'm brainwashing people to think they have problems. And then I'm brainwashing them once again to think that I'm going to be their savior by fixing their problems. What? How does that even put me in the kind of a position? Because then if I don't fix your problem, then what happens? Then I'm the devil. And that's where you get all the angry customers that want their money back and like are angry at you because they paid this money, but you didn't give them the results. And then you have more problems to fix. Hooray! Now you have internal problems that you can fix inside of your company. It's like, no. No, 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 fuck no. No, it is such a hard no in my body. And I realized, when I went away and reflected on that. I'm like, well, because, and I shared this with this guy as well. I said, I'm interested in talking to people who are interested in empowering themselves. It's a different conversation. I don't want someone, again, it's a business and I'm not everything to everyone. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. There is a specific audience that I want to serve. And in the act of serving them, yes, I might alienate other segments. That's marketing as well. Maybe not the kind of marketing I'm talking about. And, I'm not saying all marketing is bad, by the way. I'm just speaking to specific aspects of marketing that I feel have absolutely spiraled out of control in the industry. And the kind of client, customer that I want to serve, that I'm interested in serving in my business, is someone who is self-aware enough to see that there's a challenge they're experiencing in their life and they're desiring to receive support. But not because they come to me and I'm going to fix all their problems, but because they desire to lead themselves through change and they just need the tools. They need someone to show them the tools, someone who's done it to show them the way, some guidance. Like, it's people who have dreams. It's people who want to live a better life, who know that they're meant for more. And they know that they are the ones who are going to create that for themselves. And they can do it with or without help, but they want help because they want to accelerate their process. Because at the end, that's what mentorship, that's the beauty of coaching and mentorship. It's not like, oh, go to this person, pay this person to give you all the answers or to tell you what to do in your life or your business. That's like the toxic way of doing it. The way I see it, the way I've experienced it, the way that I give it is that mentorship is about accelerating your timelines. It's about moving, like knowing, choosing your path intentionally and moving through that path more efficiently, quicker, easier, because there's a Sherpa, there's a guide next to you showing you the way. It's showing you where to go so that it's faster, where not to go because the rocks are really slippery over here. Maybe it's a better choice not to go. It's not to say that you can't hike the path on your own if you're going up the Himalayas. It's not to say you can't do it by yourself. Of course you can do it by yourself, but it might take you some more time. It might take you more energy. It might take you more effort. You might like need to learn from your mistakes a lot. It just helps to have a guide, And when I even look at marketing, it's like my information is free. Information is free. I'm happy to share. Like, I'm happy to share this podcast. I'm happy to have these conversations with you and share what I know. That's free. But if you want my time and energy to help you implement it, that needs to be compensated. Because I could be out there doing something else I love. I could be out there having a conversation with an Uber driver about, helping them do whatever it is because I have the time and have the space and I feel like it. But when it comes to, hey, I need your time and I need your energy and I need your focus on my thing that I'm looking into, there's an energy exchange for that. And I think that this is what's really getting lost in, the online course, online coaching, self-help world, is this like, okay, when you're going to take somebody through something, you need to deliver an experience. You need to take them from point A to point B. And what I'm witnessing is that there's a lot of talking about how to take someone from point A to point B, but there isn't a lot of actually taking someone from point A to point B in a way that is empowering to them instead of making them codependent on a system. Yeah, I'm really passionate about this because I can see what we're doing to ourselves when we keep just lying, I guess is the best. It's a strong word because I know not everyone's doing it on purpose. I know I certainly did it on purpose. But when we keep telling these half-truths or like fake things of there's only this much left when there isn't that much left, like our words stop carrying their weight. And I don't want to live in a world where nobody's word carries their weight. Where it's like you don't know if someone's saying something to you and if they're telling the truth, if it's really, really true, or if it's just like an exaggeration or just like kind of half like, a fantasy that's being painted. And what's more, to do that in a way where you're asking someone for money and then that person gives you money for this picture you've painted. But then they don't actually receive what you told them they'd get. And that's not cool. It's not okay. So what I'm doing on my end, because I know, I'm sharing this. I told you it's going to be a lot of internal dialogue and a little bit of ranting. I'm sharing this because I'm currently on a very imperfect path to do something about it in my business and, be the change and all that jazz, and to pivot, shift, upgrade how I'm showing up, because I know I can't change the way things are being done in the masses on the outside, but I can change who I'm being and how I'm doing things on the inside with the hopes that, number one, I can really nail this. And number two, I can nail it so well that perhaps I'll be able to teach it, to Sherpa other people on the path. And also because I'm just no longer willing to give my power away and to fall into the trick of believing that anyone else knows better than me. Are there people who have much more experience than me? Yes, those are my mentors. But none of my mentors tell me what I should do. They ask me questions. They help me get back into my truth so that I can claim who I am and from that space decide what I should do. And that's how I aim to show up in my coaching as well when I'm working with people. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm cleaning up my language. I'm cleaning up my language hard, both spoken as well as in my copy. Now, my business has grown to the lengths that even though my copy is the core of everything, I do have a team member that supports me in taking things that I write. For example, like in a Word document, they take it, they turn it into emails, they turn it into captions. Or sometimes I'll do a video like this and I'll be taken into a transcript and turned into copy. And one of the things I'm doing is I'm training both myself and my team to know nothing that is inaccurate makes it make sense. So it's small things like saying, oh, I only work 20 hours a week. Is it true that many weeks I work 20 hours? Yes, it's true. But is it also true that I have weeks where I was really passionate into something and I was really into something, or the middle of a launch or something, and I put in 30 or close to 40 hours? That's also true as well. So, cleaning it up, being like, oh, I typically work less than 30 hours a week. That's accurate. So I only work 20 hours a week, inaccurate, because even if it's mostly true, it's not 100% true. But when I say I typically work less than 30 hours a week, that's accurate. The other thing I'm doing is I'm getting rid of my sense of urgency, fake sense of urgency. If I create urgency, it's real. So for example, there's no more, there's only 15 spots to this course left if there are literally an infinite amount of spots because, or, a certain amount of spots before I need to hire a new team member to manage admin. Because there is, the spots are there. So I'm not going to claim that anymore. But for example, my private coaching has real scarcity attached to it. It's not a lie. If I'm saying there's 2 spots left in my private coaching practice, that's because there's a certain amount of people that I can take on at a certain amount of time, and I have a certain amount of capacity. And so when I have filled that capacity, there's no more spots left. There is no fakeness in that, if that makes sense. And just like these small little things. And I noticed it as well in this podcast. Again, I'm not speaking to you like fully perfect, fully reformed. When I was like, there's no one here that does this. And remember, I caught myself and I said, oh shoot, actually that's not true. That's just my perception. So I'm straying away from the words everyone, no one, always, but it's so ingrained. Oh my gosh, it's such huge conditioning that it's really hard. I'm still catching myself. The other one is similar to what I said, I'm not labeling things as problems anymore, or like there's anything left to fix. So I'm getting really intentional about my language in my marketing so that when I speak, it's accurate and it has weight. My words have weight, because what I realized is that, okay, maybe we are living in a chaotic circus where a lot of people say shit that isn't actually real. But the way at least I feel I'm going to stand out in my space is by saying what I do and doing what I say. If I can maintain high levels of integrity in the ways that I communicate, and if I can be accurate in my marketing, that's already feeling 1,000 times better. Because I don't have a problem with marketing. Marketing, like sales, like operations, in and of itself is neutral. It's how it's being used that doesn't sit well with me on the mainstream. The way I'm observing, like what has been normalized, does not sit well with me. So, I will not be using any emotional NLP tactics, like all these little tricks and hacks to get people to say yes. Like that is absolutely not going to be part of my marketing. It is, cleaning up my language, making sure that when I'm saying something, if there is X amount of spots, if we are closing doors, if a bonus expires, it's expiring. I have instructions to my team. There is no exceptions. When I say this expires on this date at this time, and someone emails in 2 hours later and they're like, oh, can I get in on it anyway? No, I'm sorry, you can't. Because this is what I said. And so I'm noticing as well that when I start to be precise and clean in my language, people start to respect my business more. And, it's the examples of if you consistently make exceptions and you say, oh yeah, okay, I know I said it, I was only going to give it to you this time. But I'm going to cross my own boundary and give it to you anyway. Then you start to emit that energy. Like you start to energetically become somebody who clients can push back on, who can just who when people can just, do whatever they want with you and ask for whatever they want and take advantage. And that's not okay. And that starts with the marketing as well. So really getting clear and accurate that when I say something's happening, the way it's happening is going to happen. And if it's not happening that way, then I will follow up and let people know that it's not happening that way. So that's another thing. The second thing is that I am shifting my energy away from social media trends, from social media in general, honestly. I'm putting it back into my own channels like email, podcast. I'm going to be putting things in my email, and I've already been doing this for months now, that you cannot, like, if you're only following me on social media and you're not on my email list yet, you're not going to get a fraction of the content that I share. I share really my best in email, and then social media is just like a supplement to that. But I'm really shifting my attention to growing my community, to speaking my truth on channels that are not going to tell me, not going to censor me, not going to tell me how I should or shouldn't act, not some freaking algorithm that changes overnight and then my content doesn't get seen. No, thank you. I am not giving my energy or endorsing that anymore. I'm going to be really focusing on my channels, what it is that I have to say, the way I want to say it without any kind of filter. I'm bringing back what originally grew my business in the first place, which is storytelling. I'm bringing back the power of story, the most ancient form of communication, the most potent form of communication is storytelling. So I'm going to bring that back, inviting it back into my life. And also the way that, I'm making some really big changes in my business model at the moment, but I'm shifting my attention from, doing these long-winded marketing campaigns that were taught by, the big titans of the marketing world. The cookie cutter, like follow this process step by step to every time you launch or whatever. And I'm allowing myself to be more intuitively driven and create experiences that help people really feel what it's like to work with me before they pay. So instead of having my marketing be something that promises, talks about their problems and how they should fix it all the time so that they like get FOMO and think that they have to buy my product in order for them to fix the problem, instead of doing that, I'm going to be, and I have been as well, offering experiences where people can just experience me. Like, oh, I want to know what it's like to coach with Celine. Great. Come into this like group coaching container or come into this live thing I'm doing. I'm going to pick some hot seats and you can just experience me coaching instead of me talking to you for an hour about why you should buy my program. Just experience me, feel me, and see who I'm at, who I am, what I'm at, in these podcasts. Feel me out. Feel my voice. Do you like how I talk? Do I irritate you? Are you curious to learn more? Like, feel my frequency. Are you into it? You're not into it. You love what I'm saying. You're going to know you're smart, you're capable, you're intelligent, you're self-aware. You're going to know if I'm the right fit for you or not, if you want to learn more from me or not. And so it's like this shift of really trusting that people know what's best for themselves instead of assuming that they don't know and I have to be like, they're like baby birds and I have to be their mama bird feeding them all the information. That's what's happening right now in the industry. And it's fucking disempowering. It's disempowering to people. It's disempowering to treat people like they're not smart enough or not capable enough to know what they need to do for themselves. So when it comes to, how I want to market moving forward, how I want to show up in my marketing, show people like, hey, you know, is I just want to be of service. I just want to be of service. That is what matters to me, is to give you the golden nugget. Is for you to walk away from a podcast episode, an email, and be like, wow, I really received a lot from that. Because if you received a lot from this information that I'm giving out for free, then imagine what you're going to find inside of these programs that are much more structured. We have more time together. I have my energy, my consciousness, my awareness on you. It's a completely elevated experience, but it's not different. It's just, there's more access. It's more intimate. It's more focused on you. Like in case of this podcast, you can't ask me questions. I can't like share with you what I think about your specific case, your specific life. But that doesn't mean you're not empowered enough to walk away from this one episode and turn these insights into something really meaningful in your life. Like, go for it. The power is in your hands. And if you want more, then you're welcome. Come into my universe. Come, the doors are open. Let's do more. Let's play more together. It's just a different shift. And also the whole the whole paywalling information and pretending like I have some secret code that you don't. And as long as you join my club and as long as you join my programs and as long as you like work with me, then you're going to get the secret code that you don't have, but I have it. You don't have it. It's like, no, no. We are all this like powerful beings living this, multidimensional beings living in this human life. And each one of us, for reasons that we don't have to unpack, or we can, is we're just on different timelines and we're different stages of our path. And some people, walked their path faster than other people. Some people had the privilege of growing up in a safe, loving environment. And as a result, they don't have as much trauma as some other people that they had to overcome. And so they were able to create some certain leaps. Some people didn't. There's like millions, billions of different variations. On my end, like full disclosure, at this point to date, I have invested over $500,000 in myself. in coaches, personal development, certifications, like, and I don't even, I can't begin to tell you the tens of thousands of hours. So yes, I'm sitting in a position in my life where I have the skill set, the ability to support people through some really huge life transitions and some really big changes, because I've also had, the blessings, the opportunity for me to go through this path, and really be able to invest in myself, to be mentored, be supported, to be able to make these quantum leaps that I recognize are not available to every single person that's my age, you know? And someone else, for example, um, might have made leaps and bounds in their love life, in like being able to attract, call in, and keep the dream partner, and they're just about my age, but they've been with their love of their life for 10 years, and they have so many more codes, so much more experience than I do in that arena. But it's not because I can't get there, because something inside of me has to be fixed. It's because that person just happens to have walked that path, in more depth, in more devotion, in with more experience, with more embodied experience that they can now pass on. So we all have that. We all have our version of that, and we're all in completely different stages in our lives. And it's normal and natural that we would want to help each other overcome whatever needs to be overcome, that we would want to help each other to, quote unquote, get there. It's totally natural. And in the economy that we live in today, the energy exchange that happens to be money. Like, thousands of years ago, I had chickens, you had carrots, I need carrots, you need eggs. We would just exchange. But we don't live in that economy right now. Like, that's not how society works. We are plugged into a system, most of us, where the exchange, the agreed upon method of exchange is money. And so, yes, when we are helping each other, when we're supporting each other, to evolve in certain areas of our life that might be underdeveloped, that we may not have had the chance, the time, or the opportunity to work on the way that someone else might have, then we're creating that exchange. We're purchasing their product, we're purchasing their program, we're investing in that, but not because that person is our savior or that person's going to fix it for us, but because we believe in ourselves to know, to be able to choose who we go to for help, and to know that the resources that this person provides us with, we will lead ourselves through and take the golden nuggets and walk away and really take what was given. And in an ideal world, the thing that was given to us is in right relationship with the money exchange. And it's the very same thing that they said that they would give to us in an ideal world, which is not what's happening right now. So the way I see it, my role as a business owner, and, I don't like to call myself a marketer, although, I've been in the marketing space and know a lot about marketing, is that I need to be someone who can really, number one, create these products that actually deliver on the promise, which is something that I feel extremely confident about. There's always room for improvement. I will always be learning. But from my students, from the testimonials I received, and also from my investment, I interview people, I get on the phone with them. I want to know, how do I make this better? Then I have a really strong feeling when it comes to the price points that I create and the match that they are for the transformation that's being provided. But to take it a step further than that, because as you know, there's many, many people who have incredible products, incredible programs, incredible offerings, but no one's buying because they're not marketing. Their offerings, yes, provide the transformation, and it's a no-brainer for the price that they're asking for. And it's such a fair exchange. But then because they don't market, because they don't put themselves out there, nobody knows that these people exist. And I know they exist because I know them. A lot of them come into my programs, you know? And so what I'm doing on my end is, how do I clean that up, make sure that stays squeaky clean? And then when I go into the marketing, how do I also make sure that my marketing is delivering a real representation of what it is that what is the experience that people would then be upgrading into through payment? And that's where the cleanup is. That's where my evolution is. That's where my attention is right now, is how do I grow this and really land it in integrity? Because what I have noticed is that when we land things, when we market from integrity and we say what we do and we do what we say, and our marketing is an accurate representation of the transformation that is contained inside the program, then our words start to have weight in a world where there's a lot of empty promises and a lot of people who don't keep what their promises and don't do what they say and say what they do. What stands out are people who do. And that's why I feel that, yes, I've been in business for 8 years. And when I'm like, I'm in it, I'm in it. I've not ever questioned this whole time, all the frustrations and the doubts and everything, but I've not questioned ever if I should not be a coach. This is my life's work and I'm committed to it and I'm in it for the long haul. And if I'm in the long haul, then what that means is that I lead the way. If I don't like what I see, then I lead the way. Even though it's scary, even though I don't know what I'm doing, even though I don't have all the answers, then I have to lead the way because I refuse to be a circus monkey. I refuse to perform for likes and for validation. And because this thing works, this little trick works, and that, like, dance, monkey, dance. No. I take a stand for that. There's a better way to market. There's a better way to show up and share with people how we do what we do and why we do what we do and why it works if it works. Because if it doesn't work, then it's important to clean that up too. But I know that many of you listening, knowing by the level, the caliber of humans that I tend to attract and the people that come into my programs, I know that you're listening, you've made it this far because you are of integrity, because you care about what you're doing, because this matters to you. And so it's important to take responsibility for what are your offerings? Are they of quality? Are they really creating a transformation? If not, what needs to change? How do you need to pivot? How do you need to shift so that you are offering transformational products or services for real? That is a match for what it is that you're asking for monetary exchange. And that when you're talking about these things, that we make an effort to really be honest and true. No faking. Really being truthful. That our words have weight. That our words carry the sword of truth. And that when people experience us, they don't experience a variation of what they would get or like less of us or a fraction of us, but that we can be authentically you, authentically me, wherever we go, whether it's a free piece of content or whether it's inside the program, because it's not about, I'm going to give you 10% of me here because it's a free product and I'll give you 90% of me here because it's a paid program. No, I'm giving you 100% of me wherever I go. What changes and what requires, energy exchange, what requires a financial exchange is the level of access that you have to me, to my energy, and the level of focus that I'm applying my consciousness, my life force on you to help you with the thing you're going through. That is what deserves energy exchange. That's what creates the money. But I'm not going to show up as less of me here so that you can buy me here. Like I'm not on sale. Free or paid. Like this is me, And so this is what this is the reclamation. This is the reclamation. And this is what I guess I felt was really important. I didn't know I was going to go here, to be honest. I just knew I needed to open the mic and talk to you and really feel you and just tell you whatever it is I needed to say. And today, this is what I needed to say. This is it. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. So important, And in the spirit of marketing as well, come join my email list. I would love to have you in there, really, for reals. Like I said, I have some really cool stuff going on that's happening. They're happening in my business in this upcoming year. I'm making a lot of shifts. I'm documenting this live so you can be part of it. And for those of you who follow me on social media, don't worry. I'm still going to be putting up things as I feel inspired. But for you, if you really want to dive deep with me, if you want to dive deep with me, then come and join one of my programs. Right now, what is available is Business by Soul. I'll link to it in the show notes, which is my live group program. And I also have a mastermind. If you want to know more information, you can DM me BBS for Business by Soul, which is my 3-month group program, or you can DM me mastermind if you want to get really deep with me and come into a high touch, intimate container where we walk you through, the evolution of change and how to create some really big transformations in your life in the next 6 months. You can do that. And if you're like, I just dig your free thing, Celine, I love listening to you, I would love to learn more, then come into my email, because that's where I tell the stories, the juicy stories, the behind the scenes things that people on social media don't yet know, all go in my email. So you can just go there. I believe it's celinedacosta.com/newsletter, but look in the show notes and it will tell you exactly what that is. You can also access my email list from my Instagram profile, which is at Celine DaCosta. Anyways, that is it for today. If there's anything that really touched you today, I'd love to hear from you. Screenshot this. Let me know. Tag me on the socials. I love to hear your thoughts. And if this really touched you, if you could give this a review on iTunes, it just really, really helps to get this out there and get more people listening to this message, All right. Thank you so much. And for being here today, I really appreciate you, appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, beautiful humans, for tuning into today's episode of It's Not What You Think. If you loved what you received today, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes, and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, as it helps us reach even more amazing listeners like you. If we aren't already connected on social media, come receive even more tips and inspiration by following me on Instagram at Celine DaCosta, or visiting my website at celinedacosta.com. After listening to this episode, I invite you to take a few moments to reflect. What stood out to you? What were your key takeaways or breakthroughs? And if there was one action step you could take from this, what would it be? Thank you again for joining me on this journey. I'm sending you so much love, and I can't wait to connect in the next episode. Until then, keep sharing your unique gifts and living out your most magical life.